She was an incredible person to enter into and to experience from within, if you like, which is, you know, obviously what we have to do. I came away from it with the deepest of admiration for her, and indeed kind of a love for her. She was extraordinarily brave, and with a commitment to Israel that was total. And in a weird way, it was a bit like playing Elizabeth I of England, in the sense of, not because she had regality or anything, but her utter commitment to her country, to her nation. The absolute total dedication of her life to that and she achieved it with such, without being a sort of power-mad, sort of dictatorial type character at all. You know, she was very maternal. She was very sort of, she loved and this is something I have in common with her, which she absolutely loved kitchen equipment. You know, the latest like mixer, or you know, and I actually have that in common with her. I'm always buying, you know, the latest kitchen equipment. So you know, she had that wonderful domestic side to her. At her happiest, she was on the kibbutz looking after the chickens. She always said that's really, but life took her in a different direction. And because of her love of Israel and her dedication to Israel, she took that path and went on it. So it was an amazing character to inhabit. And just to reference the earlier question, of course I did watch some of Van Proff playing God, and especially Ingrid Bergman, who was quite wonderful. But then from that point on, you know, you make it your own. And we were very specifically dealing with, it's not a biopic, you know, it's not her whole life, it's just this little section of her life when she was most challenged. And I thought that was a marvellous idea, Guy's idea, just to take that section and really concentrate on that. And yes, I read a lot of books, and obviously watched a lot of video, but I always find playing these characters, I like to look at their life up to the age of 20. It's really how they were as children and how they were created as children. And it's very interesting, and I love the fact that Guy references that in this film, and as we just saw about her talking about growing up in Ukraine and what she experienced, and those experiences are the ones that form you, I believe. What was the impact of the loss of this generation of young men on Israel? Because there were so few young men in Israel. You know, it was a very young country, and it hadn't really dawned on me until we made the film. You know, it was the loss of a generation for Israel. That, you know, it was a small country with not a lot of young people, so to give, you know, such a huge, comparatively huge number over to a war and to lose them in this war was just absolutely traumatizing for this little country. And you know, Golda took the weight of that on her shoulders, unfairly, actually, as it turned out, and she never complained, and she never put the blame on anyone else, but actually, and she was vilified, wasn't she, in Israel after the war, absolutely vilified, and it actually wasn't ultimately her fault. I mean, it was in the sense that she was the one in charge, so of course, you know, the buck stops here, so to speak. But, you know, she never tried to put the blame on anyone else. She squarely faced it, which is another element of her courage and her character. Have makeup, obviously, a lot of makeup.
4 hours a day, the makeup.
Yes,
4 hours every day.
Every single day, take them off.
Yeah. An incredible makeup team, incidentally, 2 young girls who were just wonderful. And also costume, incredibly important. So those elements, whatever character you're playing, you know, the costume and the makeup very important. It's a part of the creation of the story, really. So very, very important. And you know, a great tool to enter into the character, and it always sort of rather surprised me at the end of the day when I took it all off and now it's me again. Because I got so used to being, you know, looking in the mirror and being that person.
I actually didn't see you
for a long time.
For 35 days. I saw Holger.
Yeah, it's the first time I see her as it's the first time.
It's because I arrived before you guys, and I left after you guys. That's true. Yes. So yes, incredibly important. And, you know, you're in the hands of artisans and craftspeople who are brilliant at their own, you know, in their own field. And our makeup people are fantastic. Karen, the head of makeup is. I don't know if she's here, but she's a shame. She can tell you more about it. But she's with us, isn't she? Yes.
Can you just compare to the Queen's self-contained kind of visual?
I don't think Golda was really like the Queen. No, as I said earlier, if there was an equivalence, it would have been probably Elizabeth I, in that sense of utter dedication. Of course, Elizabeth II had that as well, so I guess on that level. But no, I think Golda was a more emotionally expressive person, maybe, than Elizabeth II. She had the ability, which all leaders have got to have, you know, of being contained within a public sphere. You know, you can't be emotional all over the place. But I think she was very passionate. I think she was a very passionate person, but very practical as well, enormously practical and compassionate. Yes, passionate, compassionate, and practical.